So in today's Spotlight, Dennis Quaid. The Hollywood heartthrob sat down with me recently just north of Santa Barbara on the 688-acre sprawling property known as the Reagan Ranch. Considered an oasis for the Reagans, the ranch sits all the way at the top of a long and windy road with sweeping views of the Santa Ynez Valley in California. Quaid's next big thing? He recently signed on to play our 40th president in a film due out next year. And the home is still filled with the Reagans' personal belongings everywhere. And it was here that Dennis and I talked about the parallels between the two men, from marriage and divorce to faith and family. Watch.
There was this shiver of fear that went up my spine. That's usually, to me, a sign that I should do something.
Really?
Yeah, because it's completely out of my comfort zone.
It's nothing much. Just luck.
Dennis Quaid is no stranger to Hollywood, bursting on the scene in the late 1970s with his boyish grin. But after more than 60 starring roles, it is his latest that has him most nervous, that of President Ronald Reagan. So you must feel pressure.
Well, he was my favorite president of my life.
Why?
There's so many things that he did that changed my life and the world for the better. For one thing, ending the Cold War, and he brought back a sense of common sense. He stuck to his guns and his principles. He was a great man and a humble man.
The Western White House.
All right, so let's check it out. Just last month, Quaid was tapped to play the title role in the upcoming star-studded biopic Reagan about the life of the 40th president. Pretty impressive.
I voted for Reagan the first time, by the way. Yeah, and I voted on both sides. I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm an independent, always have been.
Is that allowed in Hollywood? I didn't realize that was allowed.
To be an independent, yeah, that's allowed. That's how I get away with it.
Do you feel the need to go study his mannerisms, his speech cadence?
Yes.
He had sort of an aw shucks persona.
I think he was born genetically with a sunny disposition, and that's the thing that he and I have in common. Because I do have a sunny disposition, actually.
Is there a bigger responsibility for you in taking on this role, given your admiration for him and so many people's?
Well, I feel a huge responsibility whenever I play somebody who was a real person, whether they're dead or alive, because I want to get them right, but I also want to get over all the admiration stuff, because they don't feel that way about themselves.
President Reagan came here, this sort of simple place where he would build the fences, ride the horses.
He could feel like himself, I think. Because I think this was his dream to have a place like this. I think it gave him peace, I think, here. To be
solitude.
Here. Yeah.
Reagan producer Mark Joseph says he's always known Quaid would be the perfect fit for the role.
I bought him a Reagan cowboy hat replica, and I said, Dennis, try this on. And Dennis, he put it on, and he said, call me back in a week. I called him back in a week, and I said, Dennis, what do you think? And he said, Mark, that hat, it's just too big, it doesn't fit. And my heart sank. I thought, here we go. He can't do it. And he said, but I think I can grow into it.
Do you ever wonder whether playing this role will actually make you a better person? You know what I mean?
I think I'll learn a lot. Let's just put it that way. You know? That's one thing I love about acting, and I have more fire in my belly now than I did in my 20s, probably because I know more.
Raised in Texas with a mom he calls his rock, Quaid says he became an actor because he didn't know what else to do. But thanks to one drama teacher at the University of Houston, he found his calling.
I've always been interested in psychology, and it's what makes people tick. And that's what attracted me to acting.
Circa 1974, man.
And researching his character is what he says he loves most about a new role.
It's mostly just about what was the little things that were important to him in his life, I think. Like his bookcase, I find so extraordinary. This is what the family room, which they said they didn't let anybody else in.
This was their private sanctuary.
Yeah.
To prepare for Reagan, he plans to sift through first-hand accounts from over 50 people closest to the former president, including his surgeon, his longtime Secret Service agent, and his preacher. To understand Reagan, you have to understand what a big role faith played in his life, too.
For sure.
Can you relate to that at all?
I do have a deep faith. I grew up in Sunday school in the Baptist church. Faith to me is not about like being a Boy Scout and a sinner or this or that. That's what redemption is. It's about that knowingness, the wonderful feeling of being alive.
So that piece of paper, if you look back, we'll post this on today.com/Megyn Today, that we were holding there with handwriting on it, those were Nancy Reagan's instructions to Ronald Reagan on how to turn on the TV and VCR. Have you been there? Presidents, they're just like us. More with Dennis Quaid when we come back. A few weeks ago, I had the chance to sit down with Dennis Quaid, who recently signed on to play Ronald Reagan in an upcoming film about the 40th president's life. Before the commercial break, Dennis and I were talking about the importance of faith in his life. One place he finds faith is through music and his band, The Sharks. But there was a point in his life where that music came to a halt. Watch this. I didn't know that you played music.
Yeah, I play guitar, I play piano, and I was 12 years old. I started writing songs, so I write. Music is also the language of God. It really is, because it's universal. As long as it's good, it will appeal to anyone, anywhere.
So you're going to be playing the president and you're going to be playing with the Sharks?
It might happen a weekend or two.
But there was a time when the music almost stopped for Quaid and his faith was tested. You've been pretty open about the fact that you were a cocaine addict for a while.
Right.
How's that affected your life?
I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and there was a completely different attitude about it back then, and even in some movie budgets. But, I kept roaring on. I was basically doing cocaine pretty much on a daily basis during the 80s. Wow. I'd spent many a night screaming at God to please take this away from me. I'll never do it again, because I've only got an hour before I have to be at work. And then about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I would go, that's not so bad. I had what I call a white light experience, where I saw myself either dead or losing everything that meant anything to me.
Engaged to Meg Ryan at the time, he says he had to sit her down and tell her exactly what was going on. And then he checked himself into rehab.
That was the end of the love affair for me with cocaine. And I didn't play music for a while because it was so connected to music. I meditated for 10 years straight, and I read the Bible, I read the Dhammapada, I read the Bhagavad Gita, I read the Quran, I read I just started really delving into the mystery, because that's what addiction is really about. It's about trying to fill up a hole inside yourself.
As you're talking, I'm thinking about Postcards from the Edge.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Which, this is a main theme of it.
You, Sleeping Beauty. Oh.
Didn't have to do much research for that, did I?
Dennis says after getting clean, his career suffered, and it wasn't until 1998 and the release of The Parent Trap when things turned around for him.
Oh, I hope you had a lousy time at that camp, because you are not going back. I missed you too much.
I did it, and then when it came out, I was the king of the carpool line.
Since then, Quaid has had steady roles that continue to challenge him, like this year's I Can Only Imagine, and the Hulu series Fortitude, which films in the North Pole. I'm thinking if I were Dennis Quaid at this point in my career, I'd be, living in Santa Barbara, and I'd be enjoying my money, and I'd be just taking nice easy roles where I don't think I'd be going to the North Pole.
I love the wilderness. I love that. I love the adventure part of it.
A former Montana rancher himself, Quaid made sure to show me the beauty that surrounds the Reagan Ranch in California. You ever see a bear?
Yeah, I saw one grizzly.
And so now, 60 plus years into your pursuit of happiness, how are you doing?
What I finally found out is that happiness is a decision. It really is.
Isn't that the truth? We have much more with Dennis Quaid when we come back, including his love life. Don't go away. Dennis Quaid recently announced he will be starring as Ronald Reagan in an upcoming movie about the president's life. We were lucky enough to have access to the sprawling Reagan Ranch, which is actually closed to the public, otherwise known as the Western White House, which is where the Reagans got away to enjoy the outdoors. We talked about the parallels between the two men, but also the many differences. Watch. Look at that. It's gonna be important who plays Nancy,
Yeah, really, really important.
right? You gotta have chemistry with her. I mean, that was a true love affair. Thinking about the parallels between your life and Reagan's life, you've been divorced. He was divorced too. He wound up finding the love of his life in Nancy Reagan.
That, to me, the greatest accomplishment I think he would think of his life would be his relationship with Nancy.
What do you think she meant to him?
Everything. Yeah, I think everything. I think that's what he wanted more than anything, to have a close intimacy with another person for your entire life.
Right.
Isn't that what everybody wants?
Have you found it?
I can't answer that yet. I can't answer that yet.
Married and divorced 3 times, 64-year-old Quaid is optimistic about love. Currently dating 32-year-old model Santa Azuna since 2016.
I like to be in a relationship. I do. It's more fun.
Do you feel pressured in that kind of relationship when you're older and she's so much younger? Like, I would be at the gym every day.
Well, I always have been at the gym every day because I'm vain. No, she and I, we don't think about it. I'm sure a lot of other people do. But, hey, they'll just have to get used to it.
I recently interviewed Goldie Hawn, and we talked about the pressure on women to not age in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Do you feel that at all as a male star?
As a male, no.
No, it's fine.
No, not even a question.
You're allowed to age.
Of course you are.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always a role for some, for some wretched old dude.
But keeping Quaid young are his 3 children.
I tell my kids, find something you love to do, and then figure out a way to get paid for it. Then you got maybe a third of your life solved.
Quaid's 10-year-old twins with ex-wife Kimberly Buffington made headlines as newborns after they were given a life-threatening dose of the blood thinner heparin. Today, Quaid says, they are perfect.
It was like having a bullet graze your ear. You really feel grateful.
As for 24-year-old son Jack with ex-wife Meg Ryan, he's following in his parents' footsteps.
It was very obvious that Jack was going to be an actor or a filmmaker from the time that he was 3. Meg and I both didn't encourage or discourage him either way, but it was just a natural thing for him. The only thing we didn't let him do was become a child actor. He got Hunger Games first, then he did Vinyl, working with Scorsese, and I went, hey, I'm not afraid. How about helping me out a bit?
What about the old man?
Yeah. I have no pride.
You seem like you're doing fine.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah. And before I let him go, I had to ask about some of his famous former co-stars. I want to ask you about a couple of your female leads. What comes to mind when I say Meryl Streep?
Meryl Streep, jokester. Just the most relaxed person I ever worked with.
Andy McDowell.
Andy McDowell. What a beautiful, beautiful soul.
Oh. Natasha Richardson. Quaid's co-star in the 1998 movie The Parent Trap tragically died in 2009 after a skiing accident.
She had those 2 boys, and great husband, great family relationship, and just a joy to work with. And she was like a worker, no ego, none of that crap.
Wow.
That actors pull.
Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan, come back. She was one of the most talented people I ever met. But for 11 years old, when I met her, when we were doing the film, she had me believing that there was 2 kids, that there were twins, for real.
Meg Ryan.
My most successful relationship of my life. When we met, I was the big deal. Then my career, like that, and she was like this. And then we go out on the streets of New York, and it would be like, Meg, Meg, And I have to admit it, I actually did feel like I disappeared. I didn't think I was that small. But I was.
Aww. It was a growth opportunity.
It was just a growth. It was a growth opportunity. I learned from that.
All right, one other question while I have you. This is not a leading lady, but Dennis Quaid. Can you sum yourself up the same way?
I'm the easiest guy to work with in Hollywood. I am.
You can believe it, can't you? So Reagan starts shooting this winter and is expected to be released in 2019. And for a behind-the-scenes tour of the very humble, beautiful ranch home, you can go to today.com/Megyn Today. We'll be right back.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.